Section 12, Modelling and Style Sheets. Section 12A, Modelling. To display Mood's capabilities, we are going to model the process flow of prospective students applying for a course, creating a new view for this model called Course Admission Process Flow. Before we start, we should realise that this view will require new themes, relationships, and elements that don't yet exist within the repository. To create these, navigate to File, Manage Repository, Manage Themes. Click New Theme and name your first theme Process Owner. Within this theme, create a new type called Owner. Similarly, create another new theme called Process Flow with a Process Step type. You may also want to assign appropriate icons to these new themes to help distinguish them from others. We will now create the two relationships these new themes are going to utilize. In the same window, navigate from the Themes tab to the Connections tab and expand Standard Relationships. Create a new relationship type, name the relationship Owner Owns Step. And on the Can Relate To tab, set this to relate to many elements of the newly created type Process Step. In a similar manner, create the second relationship Process Flow. And allow this to relate to many elements of the type Process Step. The last stage of the setup is to fully define the two types which we have created. Navigate back to the Themes tab and select the Owner type under Process Owner. And then select the Definition tab. At the bottom of the pop-up window, there's the option to add fields, relationships, and measures. Click the Relationship drop-down and select Owner Owns Step, i.e. the relationship from owner to process step. Repeat these steps for the type Process Step and relationship Process Flow. We have now defined our new themes, so click the OK button to close the Manage Themes window. The new themes will appear in the Explorer bar. In the Process Owner theme, create a new #owners element, and under this element, create elements called Administrator, Delegate, and Finance. Similarly, create #process steps as part of the Process Flow theme with 6 sub-elements: Complete and submit application form, check capacity, sufficient capacity, offer next scheduled course, send invoice, and make payment. Now, referring back to the course admission process flow view we built earlier, this view will contain our model of the admissions process. Open this view and add a delegate swim lane to the view by dragging and dropping the delegate element onto the modeling canvas, stretching this object both vertically and horizontally to look like a swim lane. Repeat this process to add an administrator and finance swim lane. Each swim lane represents a process owner which will be responsible for the steps within their lane and should be arranged as follows. Now that swim lanes have been set up, with delegate on the left, followed by administrator and finance, we can start adding process steps to them. As you'll see in the following steps, Mood offers some helpful shortcuts to help with linking the process step to the owner, populating the Owner Owns Step relationship on the owner record as applicable. We are going to begin by adding the Complete and Submit application form step. Click on the element in the navigation bar and drag it over to the delegate swim lane. Hold it there until a blue outline appears around the lane and drop the step there. Select the option to add a relationship and a pop-up window appears. Click Add to finish creating the relationship between the two elements in question. Follow the same procedure to define the process flow by adding the remaining process steps to the relevant swim lanes. When you have finished, your model will look as follows. Note that we've also changed the swim lane colours using the Fill Colour tool in the Drawing section of the Home ribbon to help distinguish between different owners and the steps. Now that all of the elements have been added to the view, we can connect them using relationship links to complete the process flow and visualize how they interact. From the Home ribbon towards the top of the page, click the Links drop-down and select Relationship Link. Your cursor should now change to look like a pencil, and you should use this to draw the line to link the first two process steps, Complete and Submit Application Form and Check Capacity. Once the elements have been connected, a pop-up will appear prompting you to create a new process flow relationship between these two steps in the direction shown. Click on New and then OK to create the relationship. You will note that the cursor symbol still resembles a pencil and enables you to connect the remaining process steps, ensuring applicable relationships are created. Once you've created the links for all steps, click Escape to deselect the Relationship Link tool. Your cursor will now return to the normal pointer symbol and the process flow should look as shown below. To insert a bend on a link, first choose the link in question and then right-click at its source, locate bend and click Insert Bend. At this time, this will allow you to insert a bend, and so the way the link is being visualized will be changed as needed. Notice how one of the process steps is a decision point and requires a yes or no output link. This can be done by right-clicking the link in question, selecting Rename and changing the tick box option from Show Associative Name to Show Name. At this point, you can rename as needed. Similarly, if you didn't want to show the relationship label, click the Show Label option on the pop-up menu. This acts as a toggle to switch the label display on or off. Now we can see a brief insight into the process flow which is undertaken when enrolling to a subject as well as the actors responsible. Also note that if you right-click one of the swim lanes and select Open, the owner-owned steps relationship has been populated for that element. For instance, the administrator element will show it now links to check capacity, sufficient capacity, and offer next scheduled course. Similarly, open a process step, e.g. check capacity, and note that the process flow relationship has been populated with sufficient capacity. Section 12b, Style Sheets. Style sheets are useful for creating consistency throughout our rep's look and feel. Creating and applying a style sheet will ripple through the entire rep and not just the individual feature or view you are working on. To demonstrate the use of style sheets, we are going to look at this area in detail. To do so, right-click on Styles and Open. And then right-click and edit on Default Style Sheet. Opening this view, we can see that it uses several controls, including drop-down boxes, which can be found under Panels, a text editor, and a Save button, for instance. We could employ a style sheet here, so they will all have similar appearances where these exist throughout the solution. To create a new style sheet, navigate to the Style Gallery via the Library section and create a new style sheet, naming it Style Sheet 1. Within the Style Sheet editor, located by right-clicking and then Edit, You can see both options to edit the style, as well as a preview of how it will change the appearance of certain controls. To start with, we're going to edit the button control. The easiest way to edit a single control is by using the Panels tab and expanding the buttons item. Feel free to observe the options here, remembering to only change those which affect the button control with the aim of bringing it closer to the general colour scheme of the view. Once you are happy with the results, click OK to save the sheet. At this time, we will create a new view to demonstrate the styles we have created, called Style Sheet Examples. And on this view, we shall have a drop-down, text editor, and save button. In order to add the items, choose from the Home ribbon Actions, and then choose the items in question. You may now notice that the Save button on our Style Sheet example view is not per the design we made earlier. This is because we still need to apply the style sheet to the button. Highlight the Save button, and note that the Style Gallery section on the Drawing section of the Home ribbon shows that the default style sheet is selected. Click the drop-down arrow, choose Style Sheet 1 from the selection panel to use the style sheet that you have created, and note that the button style changes to reflect the style assigned. You will note that once a style sheet has been applied to a control, you cannot amend the style of the control directly. Hence, tools in the font and drawing sections of the Home ribbon are disabled. And you'll see a reduced number of options in the Format Style pop-up accessed from the right-click menu. If you wish to style the control manually, i.e. not using a style sheet, select the Remove Style Sheet option at the bottom of the Style Sheet menu. You will now note that the fonts and drawing tools have been re-enabled and Format Style presents the full list of options. Style sheets can be utilised to make blanket changes across a number of different features or panels, which can be useful, for instance, as a quick way of applying a new branding style, or if you create a copy of your rep but want to apply a different look and feel to the new repository. To demonstrate this, we will create a second style sheet, naming it Style Sheet 2. Select these three controls and apply Style Sheet 2 to govern the style of these controls. Now open Style Sheet 2 and via the Overview tab we'll see how you can edit the appearance of multiple features at once. As a demonstration, we are going to edit the fill colour of both the drop-down and text editor boxes. By clicking the arrow to the right of Fill Colour, you will see a tick list of all the controls to which the Fill Colour feature is applicable. Click the Deselect All option and then tick the boxes associated with the drop-down and text editor controls. Now select a new fill colour using the Change Selected To drop-down in the Bulk Apply section, and then click OK to save the changes to the style sheet. Now that Style Sheet 2 has been edited and saved, you should note that the controls on our Style Sheet example view have changed accordingly. Although only the fill colour has been changed in this instance, there is a huge range of editable options within the style sheet in which you can get creative with and produce the view you desire. Section 12C Exercise. Recreate the following process model which visualizes the exam process, ensuring that all relationships are correctly used. In the example used here, I've created a new view called Exam Process View and added the new areas and processes underneath Owners and underneath Process Steps.